Let's talk. None of my people gon' walk. 100 bands for us, now she feeling. Running, I know we out to the moon. Panic on me and reside. If he come from my chain, then we swap. Shawty can't look in my eyes. BBS is I try to die. Hey, my gentleman, yeah, I'm putting up for my city. Don't need friends, my family with me. Bottles don't pop me no keep it in touch.
Big shout out to Let's Talk About It Black Ink.
Let's talk about it. Hey.
Let's talk about it.
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It podcast. I'm echoing.
Yeah.
Feel like I'm in the studio.
It's a nice echo.
We're a podcast created to impact, inspire, uplift, unite, and educate, most importantly, empower our culture and community. I am your host, Sage, and before we get into our discussion for the day, coming back again this week with another episode of Let's Talk About It, Kevin versus Floyd. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm well.
We're going to blessing.
Good. We're going to send some love out to our other co-host, Rich Mo, CEO of Black Ink Rich.
Rich.
We did you back dirty this week, Rich. He in the house whining and dining. It's Valentine's Day. Sending some love to Chase What Matters, Chase What Matter music group, the Reef Rose, the Plug, Dilla, Glow Geisha. Who else we got up in there? Uncle MJ. Hey.
Sending all that family.
Valentine's Day love. How's your week?
My week is good so far. Sleepy, but it's good.
Tired?
Yes, extremely. But it's good though. Man, everybody's well. Everybody's in good shape, so I got no complaints.
Grateful.
Most definitely.
Grateful. Good. Well, let's get into it. It's about to be the battle of the sexes. Kevin versus Roy versus Sage today. You scared?
Not at all.
You scared? Can I test your alpha?
Let's see.
I'm joking. First, before we get started, we're going to piggyback off of... You know what? We'll revisit that. I'm going to go right into a clip that was posted by one of my mastermind brothers. Shout out to Social Proof, David Shan. The Vanessa, Johnny, rich and unemployed. He posted, and I told him we was going to have a discussion. And of course, it's about relationships. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard the echo go off. It's about love and relationships, of course. So let me just zoom in and let bring y'all up there. If I can.
Money and status, we feel like we're kings. We feel like we could do what we want. We feel like we could have multiple women. A guy with more money and more status are most likely to cheat. Because men with money and status, we feel...
Play that again. Did you hear it one more time?
Are most likely to cheat. Because men with money and status, we feel like we're kings. We feel like we could do what we want. We feel like we could have multiple women. A guy with more money and more status are most likely to cheat. Because men with money and status...
All right, Johnny. Okay, Johnny. I love Johnny.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's I mean, ultimately it depends on the man, but I feel like it's true.
By the way, he's a Leo like you.
That's okay. I feel like it's true. I ain't gonna say it's not true. I definitely feel like it's true. I mean, ultimately everything is it depends on the individual. So everything is generally individually based, but that's how he feel. Every man don't feel that way, but I do feel like it's true. I feel like majority of men with money feel that way. I feel like most men are, polygamous by nature. I feel like most men are polygamous by nature. They're made, monogamous by love. That's what I feel. I feel like most men, because they love their woman, they will be monogamous with her and take that, I don't want to call it a sacrifice, but I guess you could say sacrifice. I feel like
it's a sacrifice.
I guess you could say sacrifice. That's the only word I could think of. I feel like most men, if they knew that the woman they loved wouldn't leave them and be with them and be okay with it, they would be with other women. Their heart will be with her. They will come home every night and solely be with her. But there may be a time or two where they will go, try different flavors somewhere else. So like I said, I believe what he said for the most part is true. But that's all, that's based, for me, I feel like if a man feel that way, that's based solely off of ego and not knowing how to control your power.
Right.
And I think selfishness as well. Because my thing is, if you're going to feel like you can have multiple women feel that way because you just feel that way, don't think because you got money now that all of a sudden that justifies you being a jerk, so to speak. Like, no, if you're going to feel like you should want one, you just feel that way.
Well,
you let money give you fake confidence.
Well, there's a few things wrong that I found with the statement, right? No disrespect to you, Johnny. One was, he said that men like himself, he got some bread, he's highly successful, feel like that they could cheat because men feel like kings. So my problem with that was, one, cheating is associated with deceit.
Exactly.
So
that was my problem
I
too.
don't think that's the right
word. Yeah.
And also you're associated with a king. A king is ruler. They do what they want to do.
But that's why I said fake confidence. Because
right.
if you really was confident, the reason to lie be just see, listen, this is what I'm going to do.
Exactly.
You going to rock with me or not.
So I feel like, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like, if this is the lifestyle you want to live and the woman is okay with it, then by all means.
Do your thing.
Do your thing. But cheating, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother tone. That's a whole nother energy. Because now your betrayal and deceit and all those other emotions is associated with it. So to say that most men with women feel like men with money feel like they can do what they want to do because they have some money, it's like what you're saying is you can be deceitful.
But yeah, and I agree. And I think anybody with money feel like they can do what they want to do. If you switch it to a woman, I don't think she'll feel like she can cheat. But I feel like a woman with money will feel like she can challenge a man or combat against a man. Because now I don't have to submit to you. I don't have to take your BS. I got to take care of myself. I don't need you to provide for me, so on and so forth. I feel like from what I've seen.
Back up. I don't think that's true. I think that's only true when it's pertaining to a man that's maybe not doing what they're supposed to do. I don't think it's true pertaining to a man that's doing what they're supposed to do, even if the woman has some type of wealth or some type of success. I don't think that's true, because what does being submissive, or if you have money saying, okay, I'm not doing my job or my duties, what does that have to do with anything?
Listen, I asked the same question to John about what they got to do with cheating. It's just what people believe. Some people, like I said, it's about how people feel.
No. I'm just saying you don't have women saying, I feel like I can do what I want to do because I feel like I'm a queen. So he's saying most men feel like they're a king. So kings do what they want to do. And
so does queens.
Which is true, but what I'm saying is the king had multiple women, but they knew about each other. It wasn't cheating.
But what I'm saying is, when you take, I'll give you a promise, to keep it to the king and queen analogy. If you take a queen, she's the sole queen. She doesn't have a king. Her father didn't have a son, so now she's the heir. She's the queen. She's been ruling this kingdom for a while. She has no king. She will be less likely to marry because she does not want to give up that power. Once she's married, the king, now, based off how hierarchy works, he would take over and become that king.
Right.
Base hierarchy supposed to work. 9 out of 10, she will not get married. She'll keep a concubine, so to speak, because she got needs.
Maybe.
She will not get married because she does not want to give. And if she does get married, sometimes we look at some past kingdoms, when the queen would get married, the man she married would not become the king. He would just be known as the queen's husband.
That's a smart woman.
She would just be known as the queen husband because she's not about to, for this short period of time, she's been the head ruler, head honcho. She's not going to come along and let a man come and she has to submit to that man, whether he's a good man or not. It's just a power dynamic.
I think it's power, but it may be a little fear too.
But that's why I said, if you take most men, like he said, will feel like they can cheat the way they want to do. More women feel like I'm not about to submit to you or act like I'm less than you by giving you that power of dictating how our life goes and where we go. Because no, I've been doing this myself, getting the money, getting the bread myself, and I don't need you to take care of me.
So most of it is a man want his cake and eat it too, pretty much. If he's super successful and his finances is looking good, because his heart is associated with the woman that he's with.
That's every man, though.
Want to be the reason why. You can't say it's every man.
No. You just saying. I believe it's every. Like I said, I haven't met a man. I could be wrong, but I haven't met a man yet. Like I said, I'm not saying every man is a cheater. It's a difference between being a cheater and want to be with a lot of.
I think you misunderstand what I'm
saying.
saying. I'm not talking about the women. I'm saying men with money. His topic was
men
like
without money still want to cheat. So.
Men, I understand why your brains are always all over the place. Stay with me.
I'm with you.
We're not talking about the men without money yet. We're talking about the men with the money. Right? Mm-hmm. So the reason why they cheat is because their heart is associated with a woman that they care about. This is what you're saying. Okay. They see something else they're attracted to, and they cheat because they don't want to hurt the woman that they with. They don't want to let go of the woman that they with. So they want their cake and eat it.
Exactly. Too, so they're lying to deceit because they didn't know if she knew the truth.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
So you said you feel like every man is like that.
For the most part, yes. I feel like every man, like I said, I feel like every man is polygamous by nature.
So let me ask you don't think women are?
I never said they wasn't.
No, I asked that was a question.
I think, yes.
Do you think women look at men and find men attractive, yes, or even when they're in a relationship and with the men, do you think women look
but I think it's also, yes, but I believe it's so. But I think women is more complicated than us. No, you don't. They're more complicated than us because I think for a lot of times, naturally, you're talking about on a natural basis. We're not talking about what's common now or we're not talking about the one eyeball out the group, so to speak. I think naturally, and I could be wrong, but I believe naturally, based off what we see in society, women associate a lot of times emotion with sex. I feel like they do a lot of times.
Okay, we're not having that conversation today, so we're not
different.
Yeah, we're gonna move along. We're not gonna get into that because every single time you say that men associate emotion too. That's the reason why they cheat. Because if they was as big and bad as they were, they would have said, "This is what I'm gonna do. Get over it. Move forward."
You're missing.
I probably did.
You are completely missing it because, like I said, it's not the same. You're missing the whole dynamic. You're missing because men lying is cheating. It's not because they're emotional with sex. They're lying and cheating because they love this woman, do not want to lose her. So they're gonna lie. They're gonna lie and tell her that they're not cheating, while they really are cheating because they love her and don't want to lose her, but they still have these loveful ways.
Did I miss? The emotions is tied to the woman that
right, but it's not because of sex. That's the point you're missing.
What do you mean?
Meaning that a man can have sex with a woman over and over again and never care two craps about her.
Kevin, you're missing my point. So can a woman, and she never leave her dude.
I said naturally. I said that's not a normal thing. From what I've seen in society, that's why I said where the difference coming in.
I think it's not normal because most men don't want to believe it, and this is the reason why we're in the situation we're in. This is the reason why women expressing their sexuality, opposed from religion, women being too vocal or women being too sexual, have all of these labels because men don't want that from their women. The same way most men are territorial, so they say.
And so is women.
I know that. I was alluding to that. I was going to get to that. So what I'm saying is, though, I think men and women at the end of the day share the same feelings, same emotions in pertaining to love and relationship. A lot of people want their cake and eat it too. That's just what it is.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
So, my response, like I told Johnny yesterday, Women loyalty is tested when the man had nothing, and the man loyalty is tested when he has everything.
I agree with that.
So I meant to get a couple dollars and you all crazy is ridiculous.
But listen, I agree with that completely. I just don't agree with the sex part.
What sex part?
Meaning, like, for me, when you say a man's loyalty is tested when he has everything, I think cheating is disloyal and dishonest. But I think if you upfront with the woman saying that you're going to...
What do you mean the sex part?
I was just saying that if you're upfront with a woman saying that, listen, I'm with you, but every now and then I may go out and be with another woman. I don't feel like that's disloyal if you was upfront and honest with her.
Well, it's not disloyal if that's what you told her and she agrees.
Yeah, I don't think that part is that you're disloyal. You can still solely take care of her and be with her and have kids with her, and she reach all the benefits of your success and your wealth. The other woman, she don't. You just do what you do.
Most in most of those cases, 9 out of 10, the man majority, I won't say all, won't admit it because they're afraid that the woman may feel the same way and they do not want their woman with anybody else outside of them. Most men can't see that. They can't deal with it. So at the same time, they will not admit to that because they do not want the woman to say, I actually feel the same way. Or
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with that. Yeah. Most men can't, and I will attest to that. Most men can't take what they dish out. They can shit on a woman several times. They find out she like one other dude, and this you ready to kill them both. The double standards is right. Listen, I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, no. I just say be honest in relationship. Communicate what a woman go for, what she put up with is totally her choice, but do not rob a person from their freedom of choice. If they chose to deal with whatever behavior or whatever your desires is, that's her choice. Don't rob her from the choice.
I agree.
Because most of the times they feel the same way. However, they just will go along to get along because they feel safe lying in the chest of a man.
Jeez,
so let's go into what do we have on the table today? Family ties. Is blood really thicker than water? Was the topic they wanted us to touch on. Is blood really thicker than water?
Not to me, no.
No? Okay.
No.
Explain.
I feel like, the best way I could explain it is something that I always find myself saying, especially a lot more recently. Blood makes you related. Love makes you family. And that's how I truly feel. Because, you have family who, though you're family, DNA-wise, or but other than that, there's no other family ties to you other than just DNA. I think everybody has friends who are, or at least probably experienced friends that are more like family than their actual family. So I don't think, blood, if you're talking technically, yes, blood can be thicker than water depending on if you're not drinking enough water, if you're taking technically. But, and that's the case, you need to check out, your body, but, that's not a good thing. But
now, I'm wondering where that term came from.
What term?
Is blood thicker than water?
I don't know.
I guess
they always say that because, I guess they say it because, like you said, blood makes us related. And I guess as a friend, you'll offer a friend a cup of water, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but you said no, you don't think so. So I'm trying to figure out what, how did you come up with that?
Why do you think that? Yeah, I just said it because I feel like.
Is it based off of your circumstances and situations that you have with your family, or as though you feel like someone that is not blood?
Everything is based off life situations. So yes, it's based off certain circumstances with my own personal family and just what I see in society. Sometimes your biggest pain comes from your family. Your biggest heartbreaks, your backstabs, things of that nature. It comes from your family. Everybody. Everybody ain't, just because they kinfolk doesn't mean, like, that doesn't mean they gonna rock with you. It's like, that's just the case. I don't understand it. Like, I was talking to I remember I talked to this dude, older guy, and he was talking about how he doesn't rock with any of his siblings. And in my mind, I told him, I said, I couldn't fathom. I said, I couldn't fathom not ever growing up and never talk to. I don't care how much they piss me off. I just can't imagine never dealing with any of my siblings. But I don't know his life and what they went through. Right. But you know, everybody isn't raised to be. Just because you're raised in the same house doesn't mean your parents raised y'all to be close. True. And I was playing something like me. I kind of had no choice but to be close to my siblings.
That's true.
And I just can't imagine to ever, whether my mom goes or not, I can't imagine ever just not being close with them. I just can't.
I personally think that behavior determines that. It's blood thicker than water. We all have friends that's like family, that we consider family, and we know what family is supposed to represent. So I think that character and behavior determines, you know, how close you are with your family.
Of course.
And that's just pretty much it. So
that's everything.
Yeah, I think, and then I think that because we are ignorant to family dynamics and like the foundation of what family is in our culture, I think pretty much we replace our friends and people that's near and dear to us in front of our families, because a lot of times you have individuals who do that. And I don't think it's intended. I think as you grow in life, that's just based off of children. If you grow and you have siblings, especially if the little siblings want to follow the older siblings and the older siblings want to hang out with his friends. So the younger siblings, they perceive that as if your friends is more important than me. Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. So they look at it as if friends is more, so they may look at you like, blood is thicker than water. You're supposed to want to hang out with me. They don't understand the age difference or the dynamic of, I can't share everything with you because you might run back and tell somebody else in the family, my friend ain't going to do that. They don't understand the relationship is different, and that's not communicated. So we just make up this scenario that.
And then not only that, you're allowed to wear different hats with your friends than you are your family.
Yeah, true. But I'm more so trying to think about where the terminology come from, blood is thicker than water, and how someone even perceived that ignorantly. And of course, like I said, based off of family members who display acts of violence towards their family, robbing their family, stealing from their family, harming their family. You feel like there's no love there because the family dynamic should be different. So because of that, I'm saying, though, as we grow, if the communication is not there with your family, I just gave an example. Your younger siblings might feel as though you put your friends over there, and they might grow up with that whole terminology, like blood ain't thicker than water, because off of what they experience.
I mean, communication is everything when it comes to everything. Communication is everything. Well, more so comprehension, because you could talk all day, but if you don't comprehend what I'm saying, then it's kind of pointless.
I agree.
So comprehension is the key to everything.
I agree.
But, you know, I mean, we have to have those conversations. But like I said, I think based off, if you're really trying to break down where that saying came from, you know, you can ask Google. But I think more than anything is really just somebody, it must have been a situation where, if I'm guessing based off what the saying is, it must have been a situation where they had to choose their family over a friend or somebody they cared about, because it's like, I care about you, but this is family.
Right.
And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. At the end of the day, because, you know, I have friends who I look at as family. I love them to death.
Me too.
And it would kill me to try to have to choose between them and an actual family member.
Right.
But depending on that certain family member, I would have to let that friend go.
Depending on the situation.
Like, you know, it would hurt me, you know. So it depends. Of course, it's all situational based. But I'm just saying, I'm guessing if we trying to truly break down where that saying came from or why, that's the only way I can really think of that, you know, we're bringing that saying to life, so to speak.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking it's truly situational, but I was thinking that maybe I would have to judge that off of the situation and the person. Right is right and wrong is wrong has always been my motto. It doesn't matter who you are. I think blood is thicker than water in terms of if it's family, no matter how wrong they did you, even if you never deal with them again, the hurt is still suppressed deep within your heart. especially if it's an immediate family member, because the love is there. All those years of being in someone's life and interacting with them through right, wrong, or indifferent, the love is so thick, it's so strong. So even if you don't see them, it's like, that love is there. You know he might deserve to die. Let me just be honest. He might deserve some things that happen to him or certain things that happen to her, depending off of the lifestyle that they live. But because the love is there, it's hard to detach.
I think that's based off the person. So for me, depending on the situation, I would have no problem detaching from a family. I'm not saying the love would never be there. You can watch
somebody harm somebody that you love. It can detach. That's just like, you know that you got a brother that is robbing everybody left and right, and he just did, and somebody is coming to take off his head. Do you intervene, or you step back and say he deserved that? Do you put your life on the line to protect them? That's a hard situation to be in, because you can feel like he deserved this right now. She deserved this, but
it's a very hard situation. But at the end of the day, and this is how I look at it, and I could be wrong, but this is my thought process. Though, as me knowing me personally, I would want to save him, I wouldn't, because I thought that would come to mind is, did he love me enough to not put me in the situation to try to save him?
That's bars.
That's how I would think.
That's
at the end of the day, I can't.
Like your mom.
At the end of the day, that's not a compliment. At the end of the day, I can't love somebody more than I love myself. Mm-hmm. And I just, that's just asking for a downfall, so to speak. I can't. So if you truly loved me enough, the way you say you would not have put me in a situation to where I have to make that decision. So that's just, and ultimately love is sacrifice. I always say that to me, that's what love is. That's the number one thing. Is everything else, is nice, but to me, love is just plainly sacrifice.
Sacrifice?
That's it, because you just sacrifice. And I can only think about the best example I can give that I can think off the top of my head is, prime example, my father. Mm-hmm. My father was a parentally challenged dude. He had his demons he had to fight. But he loved me enough to sacrifice not seeing me. Because I know that he wanted to see me be around. Every time he was fine, he came to see me and be around me. Mm-hmm. So he loved me enough to sacrifice his own wants of wanting to see his son by making sure I'm never connected to any demons he was doing. So nothing ever came to my doorsteps or I came to my mama's doorsteps. Nothing ever came back on his son for whatever he was doing out in those streets. Yeah. He loved me, and he knew he couldn't stop doing what he was doing, but he loved me to make sure that I would never be connected to it.
Yeah. That's
so
a great way to look at it.
That's how I look at it. Like, do you love me enough? If you can't stop doing what you're doing, can you at least love me to make sure that it doesn't affect,
that I'm safe,
that it doesn't come back or bite me in the behind, so to speak? Because the old saying goes, the children will pay for the sins of their father.
Right. That is so true.
So
rest in peace, Kevin Jermaine Floyd.
Senior.
That senior. You're not a junior. But
technically it's
But no, that's a really good way to look at it. And that love was strong. That love is thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was thick.
Yeah. So segue, because it goes back into a DM that I got about a post that I posted about relationships. I posted a relationship without trust is like a car without gas. It's going nowhere, right?
Agreed.
The conversation that I had with someone else. And a few people had, hit me up or DM me about it because they loved it. But it wasn't, I don't believe they perceived the post the way I meant it.
It was intended.
Because it was really personal development for me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the relationship without trust, it's like a car without gas going nowhere, was more about trusting yourself to make great decisions.
Exactly.
Right? To be aligned with your feelings and your emotions, that you're choosing the right people to enter your life. So it wasn't 100% about the other person. It was all about
how they perceived it.
Right. And it was all about you. So I just wanted to share that personal development is all about you. Have a relationship and build a relationship with yourself that you trust yourself to make the right decisions and be a good judge of character.
I think most people would have perceived it that way, and that because it just shows you how a lot of people don't like to point at themselves. It's very easier to point at somebody else, but as the saying go, when you point one finger at one person, you're pointing three back at you. You know, so they'll say, "Oh, yeah, he got exactly." You know, "Oh, you know, can I trust him? Can I trust her?" Well, a lot of times, what I got from even before you said it is about, do you trust yourself enough? 'Cause a lot of times we don't trust somebody because you don't trust yourself.
Right.
You're not trusting the fact that you made the right decision of allowing this person to enter your life.
Right.
And you may feel that way because you know you may have made the wrong decision in the past of allowing certain people in your life. But do you trust yourself that you've grown, that you gotten better at analyzing people and making better decisions and who you invite into your world? And a lot of times, you know, sometimes you do grow and choose better, and sometimes you don't because you're not realizing what is the common denominator in all your decisions. What is that one key factor that you keep looking for in all your decisions that may not be what you need in your life? So I truly just think it's based off the individual.
I agree. I think people, I will 100% give a shout out to this generation for learning more about self-awareness and self-love and personal development, because we have been on this journey for some time now. And it's sad that most of the time we don't get there until we reach a certain amount of pain that feel like death. And then it's like, it got to be all about me.
We had to. We didn't get it from our parents.
Yeah, so it has
we
to
had
be,
to.
Yeah, the pain is associated with it. But I think if we spend more time with ourselves, learning ourselves of what we like and what we don't like and what truly bothers us, or validate our emotions and our feelings, I think that we can pretty much get whatever we want out of life. Because then you're in control and your emotions is not controlling you.
Agreed.
Yeah, so a lot of times our emotion is controlling us. We actually react and we don't respond. So that's pretty bad behavior. I was guilty of that in the past. I was really guilty with the reacting. When I should have responded, taking time to think about the situation, seeing it from both sides, and take my accountability. Because when you take accountability, you 100% will actually be real conscious of your behavior.
Yeah, not only that, and I agree with that, but not only that, for me, I think it's about control. For me, I know I'm a control freak, but see, I'm a control freak of me. I can't allow nobody or nothing else to control me, which is why I don't have many addictions. I don't have those things. I don't allow people to control how I react to them, because that's my control. So a lot of times when you allow a person to cause you to respond a certain way, that's a level of control.
I think that too, and I'm not trying to, yes I am, because that's me. Change what you just said, yes. I think that you aren't aware of all the addictions you may have. I think it's unfair for us to say that we don't have any addictions.
I don't think I have many. I didn't say
many.
I said any. I said
but
many.
It's a whole lot that we're unconscious of.
That's why I said think.
So,
I use my word. I chose my words carefully.
That's true.
I said I don't think I have many. I know I have. I'm aware of the ones I do have.
Give me an addiction that you think you overcame.
That I overcame? Self-loathing.
Self-loathing, is that equivalent to admiration?
Self-loathing means to hate something.
Oh, I didn't know. That's why I asked. Like,
yeah, loathed means to hate.
So you hated yourself?
For a point of time. Self-loathing. I think I've overcome that. No, self-depreciation, things of those nature.
Self-loathing. What's that word again?
Self-loathing.
Loathing. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, loathing literally means hate. To loathe something.
Okay, so you hated yourself.
To a degree, yes.
What degree?
I think hate may be a strong word to you, but that's what I used at the point in time. But just to the degree.
You was younger?
Huh?
You was younger?
Just growing up, period. I just didn't. Okay. I didn't like me growing up, and even when I got a little bit older, I didn't like me because I felt as though I wasn't achieving what I felt as though I should achieve.
I was going to ask that. Was you not liking you had to do with your looks or your spirit? The way you
Everything.
think? Everything.
I feel like the best way I could put it, I hated me more as a man than it is a child, because I feel like I let child me down. Because
Explain.
I feel like how I envisioned myself being as a man when I was a child is not who I am.
Wow.
Because as a child, I didn't account for life experiences altering the path I envisioned myself taking.
Wow. Don't make me cry.
So that's why, I think
maybe that was a little bit relatable, not just for you, but for me too.
Probably for a lot of people. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure we're not the only ones who felt that
life
way.
experience has a way of deterring your childhood dreams real fast.
Wow.
But yeah, so.
Wow.
So I find myself trying to please little Kevin a lot. And it's kind of hard to, please a child. As most people know who has kids. It's kind of hard to please a child.
Well, that's true. But there's things that you can actually do to feed that, because I, referenced that to a few of my clients who experienced trauma at a very young age. And I'll tell them some things that actually work for myself, and also some things that I know will work for them, which is spending more time with yourself. That's a part of personal development and self-love. Actually do some of the things that you would have received from your parents or your grandparents or whoever was absent or present in your life. Do those activities and spend those time with yourself. Even if it was go to a skating rink or go to a movie or go to Disney World or whatever else, spend time with yourself. Let that adult version of you be the big sister, the father, the mother, and spend time with that child part of you so that you can help that heal. Show up for that individual, that kid, and walk them through its healing until it match your personality today.
That's what I've learned to do.
But you actually have to implement it in behavior. So that means you have to put money aside for you to do the things that will make that child happy at that time.
Right.
So you won't be stuck in that immature state of mind. Because a lot of us forget that the difference between a boy and a man, and a girl and a woman is maturity.
Exactly.
So we have to grow.
Well, a lot of us is walking around as adult vehicles, but having our child self drive the adult vehicle.
Right.
Which is why, you know what I'm saying? Which is why you see a lot of adults who you act like a child, because they're allowing their child persona, so to speak, to
and
drive
tantrums.
them. Yeah, to drive them. To drive their adult vehicle, which is themselves. So,
That's true. That is so true. But it's very, very important to acknowledge that child. Let me just put it out there. It sounds immature, but it's the truth. It is very important to acknowledge that child has been traumatized, because if not, it will throw tantrums. It will act in rage. The anger will surface unconsciously, though, when you don't think so. And when you back in a space where you're this adult, you would be thinking, that's not me. That's not even my character, because you're not even aware of the behavior when that child surfaced.
I agree. Guilty of that a few times. So
that was big of you to admit that. You're a dad. The millennium's dad. They don't dab no more.
No.
Wow. So that's what you overcame. What's this year, 2022 or last year, or just period? Working on it.
Just period. I don't hate myself no more. Now I'm at a dislike. Slowly ever evolving.
I love it.
Slowly, so it's not hate no more. It went from hate to a strong dislike.
Strong dislike is
now it's just a dislike.
So does that
emotion, now it's a dislike going into it ain't that bad, bro.
So because you're not being as hard on yourself. So does the dislike is that emotion associated with disappointment?
Yeah, disappointing in a lot of areas, but more so disappointing in the fact that I've come to accept the fact that I have limits.
Boundaries.
No, limits. I mean limits as far as what I can do. Far as a lot of things that plague my mind that I wish I can do, and it upsets me knowing that I can't be there for everybody that I want to be there for.
Yeah,
I have limits on because I'm one person, and so the best example I can give, and this is something that I don't show or wear on the sleeve because I'm not an emotional dude, but it's something that truly bothers me. I don't like the fact that I don't like the fact how can I put this? I think one of the hardest things for, I'm going to say, and it may be hard for a woman too, but I'm going to speak from a man perspective. For a man, especially if that man is, the oldest and he's close with his siblings as I am mine. Mm-hmm. I feel like one of the hardest dynamics is, especially when that man is kind of what like the sole main, I guess you can say, man representative in the house. So a husband wasn't there, a father figure wasn't there, so to speak. It's one of the hardest things is to leave that home and create a new one. So I think for me, what bothers me more is knowing that my siblings may feel as though I left them and started my own family. And that bothers me. Okay. That bothers because it's like, that's not the case. And it's like, I made a vow, like in my, as being the older brother, to always protect my younger siblings. So it's like, how can I protect them if I'm not there? And then I'm over here now, I gotta protect, my wife and my kids. And it's like, how do I do both? And though I know it's impossible to be at two places at once, it still bothers me.
Well, I can tell you one of the things that you can actually do, and I'm not even giving you sage advice at this time. I'm going to give you your own from last week when you gave that example of what a leader is. It's to create other leaders. So at the end of the day, you point them in a direction to be able to protect themselves and depend upon themselves. And when they need you, you're always there. That's a conversation. That's communication.
I mean, so I
that's just a part of your nature to feel like, here you come to save the day, Leo the lion, we're here. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't let that weigh on your conscience because that's not your sole responsibility.
Listen, I understand that, and that's where it becomes a conflict and a battle within myself. As I say, that's why my Instagram is Kevin versus Floyd. My mom's the only adversary because I'm constantly battling myself. Because though I know the reality of things in my head is like I should be able to overcome reality, which is me putting unfair expectations on myself. Because I can think that way, but then to hear my 12-year-old little sister tell me she wish I was home because she feels safe knowing I'm there. Now I feel like I put my sister in a situation where now she doesn't feel safe no more.
But you don't need to do that because sometimes they just use that to their advantage. And I will admit that sometimes us as women, we know how to get what we want and what to say to get what we want out of you. Because after that, followed by a few minutes later, it would have been, can you buy me this or can you get this so I can get what I want? So at the end of the day,
can I have some money?
You have to just learn how to.
But it's just trying to find that balance of, letting them know that I didn't leave you. And just because I'm starting a new family, it doesn't mean you're no longer my family or you're no longer important to me. Because I couldn't like. Just like I couldn't imagine my life without my family now, I couldn't imagine my life without them. Yeah. Like if I ever put in a situation to choose, I wouldn't be able to. So it's just that, it's just. Like
so what are you doing currently to help yourself move past those thoughts?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a solution where everybody wins, and I think the hardest part for me is accepting the fact that every time I make somebody else happy, I'm going to disappoint another. And that's
what I think the hardest part for you is? Can I be honest?
Yeah.
Can I?
Let's talk about it.
Bam. I think the hardest part for you is asking for help.
Almost definitely.
On how to do that.
I've never been good at that.
It's asking for help.
I ain't never been good at those words.
So there's and I think that's a beautiful thing, though, that you acknowledge it and you take accountability and you're actually speaking about it, because that, one, is a healer in itself. So, but I would say spend more time around men, not like yourself, but men that you can learn from and grow from. That's why this weekend would have been a great opportunity for you to be at the Social Proof 7. Shout out to David Shan, my mentor. Well, one of my mentors. I got quite a few. But my current mentor at this moment will be in the house at the Mastermind Thursday and Friday. But I think Boyce Watkins and a few others is in the building that day, and that would have been good for you. However, we're going to spend the next few moments shouting out and showing some love to, especially since it's Valentine's Day. Not that I, really care, but why not? The positive side of that is to take whatever the history was from any holiday, because they all have history, and taking the good and turning it into something positive. So I actually want to shout out a few of my brothers and sisters from the Mastermind, my other podcasters who have really, really, really dope podcasts that I think you would benefit from, that everybody will benefit from. One is the Dear Son podcast. So you can follow them at Dear Son podcast on Instagram to get the YouTube information. I don't know that. But his podcast, I'm reading it now, says he helped men become better fathers through conversations about the fatherhood journey. Everyone has a fatherhood story. In his podcast is interviewing men, whether you were fatherless or father, and help them share their stories and seeing how they move past certain situations. So that's a brand new podcast, and it's really, really inspirational. So you might want to tune into that and check that out. Another podcast, Too Stubborn to Fail. It's funny because when I was in Miami and I actually seen his merch on, I thought of you because I'm like, this is Kevin right here. What I love about it though, his brand, his podcast is called Too Stubborn to Fail. You can follow him at Too Stubborn to Fail on Instagram. The positivity that he took from the word stubborn, because being stubborn is usually associated with a negative emotion. Yes. So the fact that he chose to say, I'm too stubborn to fail, and push himself towards his dream, and have a podcast to have conversations about these topics of entrepreneurship and everything that has to do with being too stubborn to fail. So shout out to him.
That's
Much
dope.
success. These are the next, as Donnie, my other mentor, said, these are the new 7-figure podcast earners that's going to be multimillionaires in the next year. So the next person we're going to do is, of course, my boy Johnny, Rich and Unemployed, the Vanessa, who's into podcasts as well, crypto, merch. His merchandise is Rich and Unemployed. It's really dope. You'll love it. I'm still waiting on my merch, Johnny. But Johnny does cryptocurrency and Airbnbs. His podcast is always about everything related to money and women. Okay, he's a true Leo. And how wonderful Johnny is. So follow the Vanessa at on Instagram. The Barber in the Bay, my girl Tanya, the beauty consultant. And Tanya's a bad boy. She did 7 figures in the pandemic, so she's a bad gal. Go ahead, Tanya, with your bad self. Her podcast is The Barber in the Bay. Her and her husband actually have a podcast talking about relationships in marriage, and she offers advice about everything. So anything pertaining to a marriage, cooking for your family, your children. I think they have 3 children. It's a beautiful podcast.
Dope.
Support Tanya podcast. The Real Estate Baddie, Tabitha Richardson. She a baddie, y'all, too. She's everything real estate. So she's a coach, real estate coach, and she helped realtors reach 6 figures through her coaching program. So follow her at The Real Estate Baddie on Instagram. Yes, we have my brother, the Real Mike Humps, his podcast. Follow him as well. And his podcast, I believe, is called We Won't Quit. That's what it is. We Won't Quit podcast. Another encouraging story. Who else we have here? Success Leave Clues. I love the titles. Simplistic. Success Leave Clues. So I think he interviewed entrepreneurs as well on how they became successful. So check him out at Success Leave Clues podcast. We have who else was it? Born to Win. Shout him out again. I just love this dude. His podcast is I think it's the Millennium versus Me, something like that. Or no, it's the Millennium versus the World. I was like, oh. So I just I got into it yesterday. I was like, oh, I love this podcast.
Yeah,
Another dope podcast.
Name.
Yes. Who else we got? We have Bruce Flowers. So Tanisha, follow her at Bruce Flowers on Instagram. Her podcast is really, really dope. Healing and wellness and yoga and all of that old good stuff. And one of my favorite girls, my Muslim sister, Catherine, podcast is, I love her podcast is called Out Here Trying, because she's out here trying.
I like that name.
So anybody that's out here trying, which is all of us, especially go and follow her, because she really put her heart and soul.
Yeah, I like
and
that name.
Yes, and she wears on her sleeve, with showing her commitment and dedication to her exercise and working out, trying to reach her goal weight, which inspired me, because I messed up and gained like 15 pounds back. Because that's a hard battle to try to get back, especially when you hit over 40. Like, it's like, ugh. So we all out here trying. Shout out to her as well. I want to shout out, of course, like I said, my mentors, Donnie Wiggins, David Shands, Tanisha, it's my girl out of New York, my mentor, my PR, Keisha Sullivan. Got to do my family, Low Key, Nadia, Come On Communications, hit her up, all things holistic health. Who else we got? Who else we got out here? Is businesses that's thriving. Shout out to all small businesses, and especially Black business right now who's doing their things. There's a lot of things that they got to get move farther with, as far as in when it comes to etiquettes and customer service. But for the most part, what I admire is getting out here trying, just moving and putting in action and just trying to do it, even ignorantly, not knowing. Even with us, we're new to podcasting. I'm not the podcasting queen yet. I will be though. And I'm only saying that because I never got into a field I didn't be, so I know I'll get it eventually. But as of right now, being brand new, it's a new field. You know what I mean? So it's not the same. So shout out to everyone and all of our ancestors in Black History Month, the people who actually paved the way for us wholeheartedly. Shout out to them too. Our prayers go up to our ancestors for sure. Who we leave out?
I don't think we covered everybody.
We covered everybody?
Covered everybody.
Did I? I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh, shout out to Let's Talk About It. How could I forget about us? Shout out to Gentleman Ish. How could I forget about y'all? Yes, I forget about y'all. We on our way. Shout out to Save the Best for Last. I'm just kidding, y'all. But shout out to us out here, because our heart is truly grounded in impacting, uniting, and inspiring our culture and our community to be better and do better, so that we can actually do some of the things Kevin just talked about, be able to protect and provide. And that in no way is this in any other culture, race, or ethnicity. It's just actually restoring what was basically taken away from us in America. So, we are Black Power all day, but we're not Black Power. We're as though we don't communicate with other races and other cultures. That's not us at all. Some of my closest friends are of other races and other cultures. So with that being said, but we're Black Power all day, because we know we need to restore what was taken from us, and we need a Black Power for sure, because the reality is racism is real. It does exist in the hearts of men. So we have to do some things to actually change that, have more conversations about how to grow and be better and practice self-love. And one thing that was very, very powerful, I watched the interview with Wall Street Trapper. Shout out to Wall Street Trapper, right? I watched the interview with him, and and I forget who he was on the interview with, but it was with, him too. He's a really great interviewer. He's going around, he's interviewing everybody now. He's a white guy. I like him. I can't remember his name. He interviewed everybody.
And I know him?
Yeah, you got to know him because he interviewed everybody. But anything, Wall Street Trapper made a very, 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 God, how can I put this? I still have a few minutes. I can't even think of the guy's name, and I hate to leave him out. I'll come back and revisit it next week. I'll find out because I don't want to get my information wrong. But I can't think of his name, and I know it's on the tip of my tongue. But my head was just wrapped around Wall Street Trapper, but I'm going to get back on it. But go follow Wall Street Trapper on anything that has to do with the stock market. That's why his name is Wall Street Trapper. He took the trapping from the hood, came out of prison, and learned Wall Street based on his cellie who was white, who taught him everything about Wall Street while he was in prison. And he came out and implemented it. His story is amazing. And his whole goal now is to go through the African-American community and teach all the people that he used to hustle with how to actually hustle Wall Street and transform their lives. So his story was amazing. But one of the things I would say that he left me with, that he said what was powerful to me, that the interviewer had asked him, how has he healed from all of the trauma that he'd been through? His story is amazing. And he said that he didn't know because he's still in the process. He just realized that it's a journey. Like, it's not a destination, it's a journey. But one of the things he said that he's doing for right now is, he said, what was powerful is he said he don't listen to any rap music. Like, he don't listen to any negative music at all. He don't associate with anything negative and pertaining to clubs or anything, because it give him all bad memories and a bad mentality and a bad space to be in. So to me, that is accountability and self-awareness of, you know what I'm saying, understanding your triggers until you feel like you reach the level to where as though you can listen and it won't bother you. But on this journey that he's actually on with healing, he removed himself and he won't even listen to it. And I mean, some of it is, you have that music that you hate that you even like. The beat and the lyrics are so strong. You're like, why am I singing this? It's so horrible, but it's
the beat captivates you.
It captivates you, but he removed himself from it. So for the power that it took, the discipline to actually be able to do that, shout out to that brother right there. And all of us need to work on disciplining ourselves to do better, be better, so that we can actually hold each other accountable to be great or do something to make people believe in good people. I say that all the time. And we got to get out of here. We're running out of time, but we'll be back Monday next week with a special guest. Much love. Happy Valentine's Day, y'all. Do your dance.
I ain't got no dance.
I can't do it. My baby outside.
Let's talk. None of my people gon' walk. 100 bands for us, now she feeling. Running, now we out to the mall. Paddock on me.